Hello everyone, and welcome to another royal reading here at MadWorldTarot. It's a Saturday afternoon, cold but a sunny Saturday afternoon, and I have the Guardian of the Night Tarot on the tarot table. Haven't had this tarot deck out for a while. We're looking at Has-Been's return to the UK, and it is quite amazing to think that exactly a year ago he and Meghan were over in Europe on their full royaling tour. She had some event in Manchester, I think it was Manchester. She gave a speech in that red suit, and Harry had to sit and look sheepish while she did it. Then they were off to Germany, and then out of the blue the whole world changed. The shock, very shocking news of the Queen's passing. We weren't expecting it. The royals seemed to have been on high alert, except for Harry and Meghan, who seemed to be blissfully unaware of what was going on, or not believing, or not caring. It depends on how charitable you are feeling when you think about them on any given day. But of course, everything changed in that moment, and because they were there, they were included in the funeral service and all the events around it. Well, not all the events around it, barely any of the events around it. And of course, one of the things that got canned was the Well Child Award. Harry was there to give a speech. It's one of the charities that he has supported for a very long time, and he had to cancel the speech as far as I can remember. This year, back he goes, Well Child Awards in London, and lo and behold, the event itself, the awards ceremony, is on the 7th of September, literally the day before the first anniversary of the Queen's passing. The royals themselves aren't commemorating it in any particular public way. They're all gathered up at Balmoral. The only ones who will be leading any sort of public mourning will be William and Catherine, and I think they are going to be in Wales on the day. And then along comes Has-Been. He is giving a speech at the Well Child Awards, and no doubt will be mentioning the Queen's passing and making out as if he is the one that is the one leading the mourning and the commemoration. That's my uncharitable view of him. And so we want to know whether this is calculated provocation, as an article in the Daily Beast called it, calculated provocation, to show up literally the day before and to give a speech before anyone in the family that he has so maligned in the press and in books and on TV, before any of them gets a chance to do anything. He looks like this is all calculated to overshadow anything that any of the actual working royals are intending to do. And the Daily Beast reports that William and Catherine are irritated at the fact that he is popping up and giving this speech. The King has given a nice put down, said in the same article, a source close to King Charles says, Harry is a private citizen. What he does on the anniversary is entirely a matter for him. The King certainly won't be changing his plans in reaction to what Harry is doing, and there's no Prince Harry or Duke of Sussex, just Harry. So a put down from the King. King doesn't care. Harry is a private citizen. Wish him well in his life overseas. But William and Catherine understandably annoyed. So we're going to have a look after that long ramble with the Guardian of the Night Tarot. We're going to do a quick 5-card reading and see how Harry feels a year after the Queen's death. He missed seeing her. He didn't show up at Balmoral. She asked him, she begged apparently for him to go. Didn't bother. Missed the flight up because Meghan was shouting and having a tantrum and insisting on going and attaching her yak hair, as some people call it. The extensions had to go in and all the rest of it. Missed the plane, got there too late. Everyone ignored him. He had to sit by himself and then leave the next day in disgrace. So how does he feel? Is this event, of course, his charitable event, a deliberate attempt to steal thunder from the royal family, and in particular William and Catherine? Because it was interesting that the event's date was announced, released only after William and Catherine announced their event that they were doing, as far as, again, I understand it. I could have it all wrong. I don't think I do, but perhaps I do. And how William and Catherine feel about this. How do they really feel? And outcome. Is Harry going to steal the thunder? Is it going to be well received? People clamoring for more? Or is this a miscalculation, a misstep? Are people going to say, oh, go away, shut up and go away? No one cares what you have to say. You're a disgrace. So let's, and that will be from Harry's point of view. Let's have a look and see. Little 5-card reading. And of course, it's tarot. It's for fun and entertainment. It's all speculation. It's all my opinion. I read energy here, archetypal energy, and there is a disclaimer in the box below. So let's see what is going on, how he feels. Is this deliberate? And how do William and Catherine really feel? And how will this go? How will this unfold? Will it be a mistake, a misstep, a miscalculation? Or, as I say, will the public be weeping in the streets when they hear Harry's speech about the late grandmother? He was so rude too. We've got the cruel and calculated card, the Knight of Swords in reverse here, interestingly. And it's interestingly next to the Ten of Swords in reverse as well. That is ruin and failure. We'll put it back. We don't need it. But the energy, the underlying energy, is somebody who's been rash, reckless, cruel, vicious, thoughtless, spiteful. Any of those words will do. And this has led to some kind of ruin for him. Ten of Swords. We'll put that back. And so it's very vicious energy. It's one of my least favourite cards, the Knight of Swords. I know it has its place in the tarot for, you know, rescuing and clear action when the time calls for someone to act in a very decisive way. But when it's in reverse, it's a particularly nasty card, particularly vicious. If you've been on the receiving end of a tongue lashing from a Knight of Swords in reverse, you'll know what I mean. And I, unfortunately, in my life, have too many times being on the receiving end of a tongue lashing from a Knight of Swords in reverse. So I have a personal prejudice against the card, which does cloud my readings to some extent, I have to admit. What's the heart of this reading? What is the matter that we are dealing with? The Eight of Cups. Yeah, this is sorrow. This is bad times, hard times in the past, loss and mourning and pain that there is an attempt to put behind one. And of course, as I say, he behaved despicably, in my opinion, and many other people's, by not giving the Queen any time when she obviously needed time. She knew she was dying and he didn't bother. There is some guilt in this Eight of Cups of, I want to walk away from this pain, this awkward and unpleasant moment in the past where I didn't necessarily behave very well, and I want to turn my back on it and forget about it and leave that behind and reframe the narrative, something he's learned very well from his wife, in my opinion, again. And reframe it and make it all about me, and look at me doing my charitable stuff and making this wonderful speech, which no doubt she has written, perhaps speculating, bit of snark there, a word salad speech for everyone. So how does he feel truly in his heart about being back in the UK and a year after his grandmother died, the grandmother that he couldn't be bothered to see? How does he feel? Any guilt? Any... Queen of Cups, he's emotional, but it's not chagrin, the kind of emotion that one might expect from somebody who would be more mature or more self-aware, might experience those emotions differently. He is emotional, though. He is feeling it, and it will of course bring up the loss of his mother as well, because the Queen of Cups is inevitably in these royal readings the Diana card. So he is going to bring up the loss of his mother as well. So the loss of these female influences in his life, very powerful female influences in his life, and he's now lost both of them. So yes, he is emotional about it, and it's going to be quite painful for him. So he's not going to be feeling anything, but it's his level of feeling which is pretty shallow, in my opinion. Is this all deliberate? Is this a calculated provocation, a deliberate attempt to overshadow the rest of the royals and to steal their thunder and grab all the attention? Is it all about me, 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 me? We've got Four of Pentacles. This is hanging on to something energy, the Four of Pentacles. This is deliberate in the sense that he wants to control a narrative. Four of Pentacles is all about controlling a situation, hanging on for dear life though, more than controlling a narrative. It's hanging on for dear life to being royal adjacent. This is why he's showing up. He managed to do his little trip to Japan and Singapore, but it was pretty pathetic, and it was revealed at the end in Singapore at the polo when everyone else just ignored him and he was kicking around the polo field and picking up plastic bottles, looking woebegone and shunned. He wouldn't have been shunned if he'd been there as a true royal on royal business. The red carpet would have been rolled out, everyone would have been beaming and glad-handing and all the rest of it, but no. So he's got to clutch at events like this and make the most of them and pretend that he's still part of the royal world. He's still a member of the British royal family. He needs to be a member of the British royal family for his pentacles, for his payday with Netflix and whoever else. If he's ever going to write another book or anything like that, then it's very important that at moments like this, he shows up, but he's showing up at his own charity where they're not going to boo and hiss, and he's not going to show up at Balmoral, and I'm going to look at that in the next reading. Too frightened to go and face his relatives in person, but can make a speech at the Well Child Awards in London on his own turf, on his own terms. Again, as I speculate, speech written by herself. But this is all about clinging on to honours and bling and status and stuff like that. Clinging on for dear life because he has got nothing else. So it's not boastful energy. It's not victorious kind of narcissistic energy. It's more desperate. I need this for my own stability, my own security, my own brand, who I am, how I honor my debts. If people think that I'm no longer relevant to the royal family or to the British public, then I'm done for. Then those debts are going to be called in, that lots of people speculate might be floating around in the background. Interesting card. A lot that universe felt needed to be said about it. How about William and Catherine? How do they feel about him popping up like a bad penny in the UK? Just when they don't. Seven of Swords, you sneak. It's the sneak card, the Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords is illegal behavior, dishonorable conduct, cowardly conduct. And I've just been talking about that, and I'm going to talk more about cowardice in the next reading, but it's the coward card, the Seven of Swords. Somebody who's a sneak, somebody who avoids people, who ghosts them, who disappears at the moment of truth when they're most needed. To do something honorable and decent, they disappear, they steal, they ghost, they sneak away in the night. It's unfortunate for the poor creature who's on the face of the Seven of Swords. No, the big cat there, no insult to it, but the Black Panther. But it's a card of deceit and deception and cowardice and dishonor. And so William and Catherine see it for what it is, the coward showing up and don't like it at all. Contempt in that card, scorn for him for being such a coward. How is it going to go? Is it going to be a moment of triumph for him? Or is he going to regret it? Is this a misstep? How is it going to be received in the wider public, not there at the Well Child thing? The Chariot. The Chariot, two things. The Chariot is, of course, William. Prince William is the Chariot, is the Cancerian. The Chariot likely will dominate this this thing and put him in his place because it is the only, I'm just checking, yeah, it's the only major arcana that has shown up in this reading. So he's doing something hasty and something that's not necessarily thought through very well. Because he's going to be the night before, and then Prince William is going to emerge as the Chariot, as the real royal in all his glory and all his honor and doing the right thing. It is forward motion as well. So more than forward motion, it's about ambition and drive. And I think people are going to see that about Prince Harry. They're going to look at him and think, this is all about him and all about his need to be the dominant one, about his need for attention and for fame and for glory and stuff like that. Not a terrible card at all, but because it has this double energy, because it's the Prince William card and the Major Arcana, Prince William is going to dominate it. Let's just check, clarify that for me. If there's anything else you want to tell me about this Chariot, about Prince Harry and how he's going to be received in the UK. How are people going to view this stunt? And I'm getting it as a stunt. I know a card has come out. It's too soon. I'm going to put them back. And let's just try this again. How is this going to go for Prince Harry? Is this going to be a success or not? Because that card is quite, not confusing, but can be read in two ways. So just to see if universe wants to. Now it's crossed with me because it gave me two cards and I said no. Okay, now I have to wait. And I'm back, and so universe made me go and climb under the tarot table. It's my punishment for rejecting its first offering. And this is what came out. It was the 8 of Wands, and it came out sideways. And this is interesting because it is the PR card. It's somebody who wants to get their message out fast and furious, but it's come out sideways, so it's not quite successful. It's in between, reverse, being blocked, and really forcefully getting your message across. It's a very similar energy to the Chariot, interestingly. It's about motion, forward motion. It's the minor arcana of forward motion, the 8 of Wands, of being unblocked. He's trying to unblock himself, and he's trying to escape the clutches of the claw back in Montecito, and he's trying to gain his voice and his authority and his momentum again. It's not quite working. It's not a total dud. It's seen for what it is. It's seen as a PR attempt about the brand. It's not a complete failure, but it's not a complete success either. And as I said, this card is not confusing, but it has this double energy to it. This has a double energy to it because people are going to see it as PR, but the speech is going to be reasonably well received, not booing and hissing, but it's not going to grab the front pages like he wants it to, and he does want it to with this card and this card. So he has got ambition, but I would say that ambition is going to be thwarted the next day when the real Chariot arrives and does what the real Chariot needs to do, and in the full honor and glory of being top gun, basically, in the royal family, almost. And Harry will be put back in his place. So that's your reading. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.